So for my media analysis too, I made a mock commercial with a COVID product that I had in my room. This is what the video looks like, just so there isn't any confusion. It sort of starts
Hello.
like this. I'm not gonna show the whole thing; that would take up a lot of time. So mock COVID commercial. In this commercial, we really try to uh, take advantage of people's appeal to ethics, how they just really they'll listen to what people who know more than them have to say. We also try to use people's fear for their loved ones. Um, this was something that people desperately were trying to do with uh, medical communications during COVID was to just really convey that, hey, there are a lot of people dying because you aren't taking precautions. So I sort of went for that within this mock COVID commercial, as well as other elements I've taken from older pieces of commercials. But let's get into the first part of the slide. Persuasive element number one, appeal to credibility slash authority. So in this commercial, we have the character Bob Stiffjaw. So in the video, we imply that he's a professor. Let's just assume he is, uh, who understands the problem, and so we want to relate him to the product. Uh, Using Bob Stiffjaw, it makes our product seem better than the other ones because we have a professor who approves of it. Uh, this really goes back to a concept of associations, uh, where you take one thing that everyone really kind of respects, which is like doctors or professors, people in the medical community. We relate it to our product, which is also medical, so it's fitting. I took a quote from the textbook. Advertisements fundamentally try to build in positive associations between the product and the positive images. However, in our case, we're selling medical supplies. So we don't necessarily want to build a positive image, we want to build a negative image so then people fear it. That's actually persuasive element number two, scare tactics. Uh, Scare tactics is a fallacy, but it also is an effective fallacy. In the ad, we have a sick character that we cut to in between the monologue. We just don't stare at him. We make sure he's in between the message. This adds more to Bob Stiffjaw's story. It's a pathos appeal, as we learned a lot in lecture. We play at people's heart and try to relate it to a time they had a sick loved one. However, showing the sick character is to scare people. This person isn't actually sick; he's an actor, but we want to make people see this really sick person and think of their loved one, and be like, I do not want them to also be bedridden. And this was from the master list of logical fallacies, where I sort of thought of all of that. And then again, I take a quote that is in the textbook, but is actually taken from somewhere else, Lee and Kotler. Uh, a process that uses marketing principles and techniques to change priority audiences' behaviors that will benefit society as well as an individual. So this key in like medical communications, we're trying to change habits, change behaviors, make society act better so more people are safe and healthy. However, sometimes you gotta crack some eggs to make an omelet. My meaning being, you have to make people experience a bit of fear. So, persuasive element number two, which is actually number three, I put them in the wrong spot in the slide deck. Whoops. Uh, we're taking another quote from Perloff earlier in the textbook. The message can consist of arguments or simple cues, like music in an advertisement that brings pleasant memories to mind. Perloff 28. So this is a very important thing I sort of learned, is that it's not just one thing in your advertisement that really gets people. You can't just have one person talking like an actor, but you don't have them show the brand or anything. But you can't just have the brand without the actor. You can't have it without good cinematography, good sound, good atmosphere. So music is very important for the atmosphere for my advertisement because it makes people feel something. Music is feelings put into sounds, and we want to then take those sounds and put them back into feelings by throwing it at the audience. An ad requires a lot of elements, and music is a very important one. The use of music in a much lower key, the ones that sort of sound sad and people have been made to know to sound sad, that they sound sad for a long time. Use those because that will elicit a sad reaction from viewer. Think Sarah McLachlan in the Humane Society ad where all the animals look very sick and in trouble. Just music's a very important part of everything, and to put that in an ad plays out people's emotions just as well in that sort of pathos argument as we learned from lecture. Sources cited here, I'll sort of go over my closing arguments. The combination of credibility, in sort of the ethos category, and pathos, to really play at people's heartstrings, plus music, that equals a great medical messaging of communications to get people to buy our medical product.